Welcome to another episode of Mike's Money Picks. Today on the podcast, the PGA Tour is continuing its fall swing, and we're going to continue breaking it down week after week. And this week, we have the Shriners Children's Hospitals Open. This is an event played yearly at the same course in Las Vegas. Much like last week at the Black Desert Championship, we've got some kind of external factors that are going to come into play with this golf course. But regardless of how you feel about the course, it is going to look great on TV, and it's going to produce probably a pretty good finish as it does year in and year out. Like, this is yearly one of the events that will actually get me to either switch away from Red Zone on Sundays to catch the end of this event, or to at least put it on a second screen like a phone or an iPad, because usually it produces a pretty thrilling finish. And usually, knock on wood, I have a guy who is in contention who is either in my DFS lineups or a guy who I have some kind of bet or some kind of money on. So here in this episode, we're going to break down the golf course itself, TPC Summerlin, and what you can expect from the golf course this week. And then we're going to take a look at the stats and break down who we think is going to have a good week here at TPC Summerlin. So whether you are playing DFS, betting, one and done, player props, whatever the game is, we've got you covered here in this episode. You're going to get all the information you need to pick the winners here at the Shriners Children's Open this week. Now, as a reminder, make sure you're subscribed to the channel. That way you can be with us for the rest of the PGA Tour's fall swing, as well as all of our additional NFL, college football, and soon to come college basketball content that comes your way here on Mike's Money Picks. And if these videos help you out, please hit the like button. It really does help me a ton when you guys do that. And if you're listening on audio, please rate and review. All right, let's go ahead and end the introduction there. Let's go ahead and start talking about TPC Summit. So TPC Summerlin is not a course that is going to win any architecture awards or kind of blow anybody away with, just its whole design or routing or, unique holes or anything like that. But it's a course that is going to look good on TV, and it's going to provide a thrilling finish. There's a lot of holes here where there is risk reward at play. There are a lot of holes here where birdies as well as bogeys are certainly in play also. So TPC Summerlin is in Las Vegas. It is, very much cut out of the desert. There are sparse trees throughout the course. One of the biggest things you have to navigate here is the big miss will land you in the desert. Much like last week at the Black Desert Championship. The only problem is last week, we had guys that, if they hit it in the desert off the tee, they were pretty much re-teeing and hitting three because the desert was absolutely unplayable. This week, a lot of the desert is actually playable, and you will find guys playing out of it if they do miss into the desert. Now, this is very much built in the mold of a lot of TPC courses where it is designed for spectators. It is designed to have holes that are, very birdieable, very scoreable, and very visually, aesthetically pleasing to look at. It's not unlike a whole lot of other TPC courses in that regard. It rates out as a par 71. On the scorecard, it measures out at about 7,300 yards. But with this being in Las Vegas and being played at a little bit of elevation, not as much elevation as we saw last week at the Black Desert Championship, not as much elevation as we saw in August at the BMW Championship, but it is played at a little bit of elevation. And so you can kind of adjust that scorecard yardage down a little bit to play more so right around 7,000 yards. Excuse me for 1 second. I need to take a quick breather. All right, I don't know if you guys could hear that or not, but that was like something got caught in my throat. I felt like, I'm still kind of battling illness here. We've been going on for about a week and, really sore throat. We're trying to battle through this, and just something felt like it got caught and I could barely get the words out. So took a little breather, had a swig of Gatorade. We're all good. So like I was saying, it is going to play about 7,000 yards on the scorecard. So basically, it's going to play as one of the shortest courses that you will see on the PGA Tour schedule all season long. It is also going to play as one of the easiest PGA Tour courses that you will see all season long. Year in and year out, in the decade plus that this course has been hosting this event, it is rated out in the top 10 easiest courses on the PGA Tour. And the reason why is because A, it's very short, like we just discussed, but B, there's just not a whole lot of hazards. We already mentioned the desert is a lot of playable area, but also you got to hit it really bad to even put it in the desert. The landing zones on tee shots are quite wide, so you're going to see guys pulling out driver on pretty much every shot. And then with the overall distance of the course, you're going to see guys hitting wedges on pretty much every shot. When you give PGA Tour level golfers wedges in their hand for their second shot, they're going to be able to stick it pretty close. They're certainly going to be able to hit the greens, and then they're going to be able to make the birdie putts. And so for that reason, here at this course, you see a routinely high driving accuracy percentage because the driving corridors are so wide, and you see a significantly higher than usual greens and regulation percentage because guys are not hitting it in hazards off the tee, and they are hitting wedges into the greens on their second shot. The only holes that really play significantly difficult here are the par threes. Other than that, there are 12 holes on this course that play under par, and the 3 par fives play pretty significantly under par. Everybody in the field is pretty much going to be able to have a go at these par fives in 2 shots. So really the name of the game this week is going to be scoring, just bar none. You got to have guys who are going to score. And this week, honestly, I don't really care how they get there. They're either going to need to get there by being elite ball strikers and giving themselves very makeable birdie putts, or they're just going to need to get scorching hot with the putter. And it really kind of tracks with what you think of when you think of short, easy golf courses, right? Like just keep it in play, try to, keep it in play off the tee, try to dial it in on approach, try to make the birdie putt. And the guy that ends up making the most birdie putts is going to end up winning this week. So I wouldn't describe it as a pure putting contest, but this is about as close to a putting contest as it gets because the green regulation percentage is so high that the ability to separate on your first two shots is slightly lesser than that of a normal PGA Tour course. But then again, if you are hitting every approach to, 5 feet, then you're going to be giving yourself a significant advantage on all those birdie putts. So at the end of the day, when we were looking at the key stats for TPC Summerlin, this is a course where, yet again, week in and week out, strokes gained approach is going to be one of the most important stats to look at. But I want to look at birdie or better percentage or birdies or better gain, because basically this week scoring is the name of the game. How many birdies can you make? The guy who makes the most is probably going to win the golf tournament. So, I want to look at birdie or better percentage, but I also want to look at performance in easy conditions. In other words, how do they do at other birdie fests? How they do at other courses where there's minimal hazard off the tee and there is minimal obstruction to hitting the green regulation and having a birdie putt. And so I also want to look at performance at comp courses. And those comp courses that I have are starting off with PGA West, which is the home of the American Express. They play 2 rounds at the PGA West. That is a desert course where, again, a huge miss will put you in the desert, but you really got to miss it pretty big to be out there. It's another course where the driving corridors are quite wide. The greens are easy to hit in regulation, and you got to hit a lot of putts to win. Pebble Beach is another one. And Pebble Beach, the fairways at Pebble are quite wide. It's also quite short. The greens at Pebble are quite small. That is its main defense. But if you think about it, if you're able to play well at Pebble, if you're able to hit greens at Pebble on the small greens, you're going to be able to hit the greens in fairly similar conditions here at TPC Summerlin on bigger greens. I also like Silverado Resort, host of the Procore Championship, formerly the Fortinet Championship. We've seen a lot of guys over the years parlay their success in that event into having success at this event because usually they occur only a few weeks apart on the schedule. And then I think the other desert courses, TPC Scottsdale and Black Desert Resort, are solid comps to look at as well. But really, when you look at who has played well at this course in the past, you talk about Tom Kim. Where does Tom Kim play well at? Courses like PGA West, courses like Silverado Resort, where courses, even you could so include TPC River Highlands and Sedgefield, shorter golf courses where the emphasis is placed on the putter and he can get as hot with the putter as anybody. Patrick Cantlay has historically played well here. Where does Patrick Cantlay play well? PGA West, Pebble Beach, Harbor Town, another short golf course. And then another guy that's played well here is Adam Hadwin. Where does he play well at? PGA West, Pebble Beach. It's just the same list of courses when you look at the guys who play well here, the other courses that they play well at. All right, let's go ahead and take a quick breather, and then we're going to dive down the rabbit hole. All right, so if you've been with us for the entirety of the PGA Tour season, you know that when I refer to the rabbit hole, I'm talking about the tool by betspertsgolf.com called the rabbit hole, where they have all different kinds of custom filters and conditions that you can apply to make custom models, and has really helped me kind of own in on specific stats that I want to look at and allowed me to target some golfers that I probably would not have found otherwise if I didn't have the ability to kind of filter out each unique part of a golfer's game that applies to a specific golf course. So the first thing that I wanted to look at this week in the rabbit hole, and these are all the stats that I put in my custom model, by the way, is strokes gained approach for the calendar year 2024. Who are the best golfers in the field on their approach shots in general? The top 10 is Tom Hoge, Keith Mitchell, Doug Gim, JJ Spawn, Kurt Kitayama, Andrew Novak, Henrik Norlander, Grayson Sigg, Kevin Yu, and Tom Kim. When you switch it over to approach on short golf courses, because really you can see guys use all the different yardage buckets for approaching their models. I'm not the biggest fan of that because guys don't always play to the same number off the tee. So approach on short golf courses gives you a pretty good picture of, hey, when guys have short approaches into greens, who's good at it? And the top 10 in this stat have been Tom Hoge, Ches Reavie, Doug Gim, Grayson Sigg, Adam Svensson, Tom Kim, Seamus Power, Troy Merritt, Eric Cole, and Mark Hubbard. Now, I also want to look at strokes gained total on short courses because, not just to, own in on approach, but look at the entire game, who plays well at short courses. And this goes back the last 4 years, so pretty much back to COVID. And the top 10 in that category are Seamus Power, Eric Cole, Brendan Todd, Adam Svensson, Daniel Berger, Ben Griffin, Mark Hubbard, Tom Kim, Tom Hoge, and Keith Mitchell. I also wanted to look at easy courses because, with this being a birdie fest this week, you're going to have to make some birdies this week. And so the top 10 in that category are Seamus Power, JT Poston, Tom Kim, Eric Cole, Cam Davis, Ben Griffin, Matt Kuchar, Brendan Todd, Jonathan Vegas, and Taylor Pendrith. And then when you own it down to desert golf courses, the courses that, we talked about where the desert is the locale. You've got Adam Hadwin, the desert fox Adam Hadwin, Canadian elite at desert golf courses. Kind of ironic, right? Adam Hadwin is number 1. Tom Kim 2, followed by Tom Hoge, Davis Thompson, JT Poston, Lonto Griffin, Eric Cole, Matt McCarty, Andrew Putnam, and KH Lee. And when you look at my comp courses specifically, the best golfers in the field at the comp courses are Tom Hoge, Brendan Todd, Adam Hadwin, Davis Thompson, Eric Cole, Seamus Power, Joe Highsmith, Bo Hostler, Keith Mitchell, and Nick Taylor. Another thing that I wanted to look at is birdie or better percentage for this calendar year, 2024, on easy golf courses. And so the top 10 in that category are Eric Cole, Adam Hadwin, JT Poston, Cam Davis, Sam Ryder, Tom Kim, Chesson Hadley, Bo Hostler, Eric Van Rooyen, and Keith Mitchell. Now, in terms of putting, I wanted to look at each golfer's putting baseline, how they putt on all surfaces this calendar year, and then compare it to how they putt on bent grass over the last 2 years. So when you look at bent grass putting, the best bent grass putters in the field, JT Poston, Ben Coles, Justin Suh, Harris English, Aaron Baddeley, Patrick Fishburne, Harry Hall, S.H. Kim, Pearson Cootie, and Taylor Pendrith as the top 10. And then when you look at putting ranges, I want to look at a lot of kind of mid-range putts this week because I think that that's going to be what guys give themselves a lot of. You're not going to have like a whole lot of under 5-foot putts, but if you look at 5 to 10, 10 to 15, 15 to 20, I think you can get windows of guys who are going to play and putt well this week. So from 5 to 10, you got Davis Riley, Joe Highsmith, Ben Silverman, S.H. Kim, Jonathan Vegas, Harris English, Matt McCarty, Ben Coles, Taylor Pendrith, and Cameron Champ. From 10 to 15, 10 to 15, you have got Pearson Cootie, Hayden Springer, Michael Thorpe Brunson, Webb Simpson, Aaron Baddeley, JT Poston, Emiliano Grillo, Cam Davis, Austin Eckroat, and Taylor Montgomery. And then when you look at 15 to 20, you end up with Sammy Valimaki, Kevin Streelman, Daniel Berger, Vince Whaley, Rico Hoey, Carson Young, Adam Schenk, Adrian Dumont de Chessar, Scott Piercy, and Callum Tarrant rounding out the top 10. Now, when you throw all of that together into a model, what you get is my number 1 golfer for this week is Tom Kim. And this should come as no surprise. This is a guy who is very clearly the best golfer in the field, very clearly the most talented golfer in the field. And oh, by the way, he happens to be the back-to-back winner at this golf course. So really, there's just no nits that you can pick with Tom Kim. He is very clearly the top golfer in the field to me. I will be playing him in DFS as my top guy in. I think a lot of people will as well. So you're certainly going to be wanting to look at ways to get different elsewhere if you're playing Tom Kim in DFS. But to me, this is just an elite resume for a guy that, plays well at this type of golf course and plays really well at this specific golf course. I don't think he's going to win outright. I don't think that that's necessarily the way to go this week, because it has been over a decade on the PGA Tour since anybody has won the same event 3 years in a row. Steve Stricker did it with the John Deere Classic. So just with, that streak being so long, I don't necessarily think that it's a likely outcome that he wins, but I think that it's a highly likely outcome that he finishes near the top of the board this week. The second ranked golfer in my model is Ben Griffin. And to me, this is a really good Ben Griffin spot. Ben Griffin, when you think about the weakness of his game, it is his driver. He is neither long nor accurate off the tee, and that doesn't really affect him here this week. He's a great putter on bent grass. It's actually his best surface. A lot of people think Bermuda's his best surface, but it's actually bent grass. He's at his best at easy golf courses. He's at his best at short golf courses. He's at his best where his weakness, which is that driver, is negated. And this is a course that's going to do that. And at the Black Desert Championship was kind of that way. He gained strokes in every category along to a T11 finish. His performances here at this event have been kind of not up to par, a 60th and a missed cut, but I really do think when you look at his statistical profile, it profiles really well for this event, and I think he's a really solid mid-range DraftKings play. I think Eric Cole is largely in the same bucket as Ben Griffin of his weakness is his driver, and this is not going to be a big issue this week, and so Eric Cole comes in third in my model. It's not really a big surprise to me there. His history at this event, he missed the cut in his first appearance, but was third here last year, so he definitely has the chops to play well here at this course. I like Eric Cole as well. Seamus Power comes in fourth. So what's interesting about Seamus Power is he is a Vegas guy. Like this is a local course for him. Even though he's obviously from Ireland, he makes his home in Las Vegas right now. But he hasn't played all that well here at this course. He's played here 5 times, finished no better than 20th. But what I will give him credit for is he is bringing in consistently better form into this event right now than he has had at pretty much any other point in his career. 3 straight top 11 finishes where he's really gained strokes in pretty much every category all the time. One exception being the FedEx St. Jude, where he had just a few water balls, and the Black Desert Championship, where he lost a ball on Thursday off the tee. Rallied to make the cut, was really not looking like he was going to make the cut for a lot of the day Friday. Rallied to make it, rallied over the weekend to finish T11, and he's coming home. He's in a very comfortable spot. I think this is a really, really good spot for Seamus Power. He is going to be a guy that I'm going to be looking at in DFS this week. Also, I think you can conceivably build a lineup where you get Tom Kim and then you get another one of the 9K guys, because I do think there's a lot of value in the 7K range in DraftKings this week. More on that later. Tom Hoge is fifth on my model. He has been okay here. 4 top 25s, 2 missed cuts. I generally don't play a lot of Tom Hoge because he always pops up in approach, which leads to like all of the stat guys saying play Tom Hoge, play Tom Hoge. But I think there's a little more to it than that. I don't know. Like, it's really the only part of his game that he has. Yes, he does generally play well at short courses. Yes, he does generally play well in this region of the country, but I just don't know if I'm going to get there this week. I think I would rather pay up $1,000 for Tom Kim or pay down a little bit more for other guys in DFS formats, and I just don't see him being a guy that's going to win a golf tournament. Keith Mitchell is 6. He's another guy that I'm probably going to pass on. Last week at the Black Desert, he missed the cut. I think you want to play Keith Mitchell at courses where the driver matters, because Keith Mitchell is a great driver of the golf ball. It allows him to separate from the rest of the field because he is both long and accurate off the tee, not much unlike Rory McIlroy. We've talked about how he generally plays well at Rory courses. And would we like Rory at a pure birdie fest like this where the driver doesn't matter and distance is not an advantage? Probably not. So I don't think this is a great spot for him. And his history here agrees. He's missed the cut 4 times in 5 trips at this event. Andrew Putnam is number 7 in my model. This is one of those, 7K plays in DraftKings that I'm really high on this week at $7,700. He is a guy that, we talk about the Keith Mitchell and Rory McIlroy comparison. Andrew Putnam and Tom Kim is kind of a sneaky little comp also. And Tom Kim's won this event back-to-back times. We haven't seen him since the Pro Core Championship, but he gained strokes in every category except the putter that weekend. It's a different surface this week. It's been grass. And oh, by the way, he has been great here at this event. He's played it 5 times, has 1 missed cut, but the other 4 have been 4 top 18 finishes. So he plays this event every year. He clearly knows that it fits his game. I think that this is a great spot for Andrew Putnam. He came in at number 7 in my model, and I think that's a very reasonable spot. Shane Kim is number 8 in my model. He's a very elite ball striker. Not shocking to see him pop up there. Not my favorite play this week, though. Brendan Todd is number 9. Elite level putter. Guy that plays well at short golf courses. I don't think that this is a bad spot for Brendan Todd, but I'm generally not a guy that plays a lot of Brendan Todd. Eric Van Rooyen was 10th. He's a guy that you play at courses where you can just wail away with driver off the tee and there's no penalty. That's this week. So I don't think that's a bad EVR course in any way. I don't think I would have gotten to him unless I'd made this custom model. I generally don't play a lot of EVR in DraftKings, but I think this is a place where you might want to roll them out. Now, the 11 to 15 range in my model is a lot of guys that I kind of want to talk about and want to play in DraftKings this week. Adam Hadwin, 8,900. The king of course history here. 4 top 10s in the last 5 years. Runner-up here last year to Tom Kim. Not necessarily the best form coming in, but that's never really mattered to him here at this event. It's never really been a factor to him playing well, and he always seems to play well here. So regardless of what the recent form looks like, I'm going to trust the fact that he had 2 months off pretty much since the BMW Championship, had that time to get his game right, at a course he's had a lot of success at. I'm going to be rolling out Adam Hadwin this week. JT Poston at $8,100 is another guy that I'm going to be rolling out this week. He's finished 20th and 3rd here in the last 2 years. And to me, he fits the mold of, like, when you think of the courses that JT Poston plays well at, you can really talk yourself, into him playing well here. Like, he's played well at Sedgefield in his career. Okay, short golf course. He's played well at John Deere Classic in his career. Okay, another short golf course. He's played well at the RSM, short golf course. Harbortown, short golf course. All of the courses that JT Poston seems to play well at, or fit fit in the mold of short golf courses. And this is another one that's a short golf course. So $8,100 for him on DraftKings to me is a very reasonable price tag. I'm going to be playing a lot of JT Poston in DraftKings. Doug Gim is an interesting one. He's a Vegas guy. We talked about him a little bit last week. His finishes just continue to be okay. He continues to strike the ball really well, continues to not putt it really well. If he ever does flip the putter, he has the upside to win this event. Mark Hubbard is 14. This seems like it will be a good Mark Hubbard spot, but his recent form is starting to decline slightly, and he hasn't played well here at this event, so I'm probably going to pass on him. Daniel Berger at $7,200 in DraftKings is still a steal of a price for the talent that he is at the price tag that he's at. I'm going to be rolling him out in DraftKings formats and just buying that, eventually he's going to be all the way back, and I'm going to be early when he is. Davis Thompson and Cam Davis are 16 and 17 in my model. The irony is not lost that it's two guys with the name Davis. But basically, these guys are guys you play at courses like this where you can whale it away off the tee and, be super aggressive on approach and just hope to dial it in, hope to make putts. And when they do make putts, they win events like Davis Thompson at the John Deere, like Cam Davis at the Rocket Mortgage. So I really do like both of them this week at 16 and 17 in my model. The last guy that I'm going to talk about here while we're on the subject of the model is Nick Taylor, $7,100. He generally plays well at short golf courses. He was 13th here last year. He's played it 9 times, 7 for 9 on cuts, plays it every year. So clearly he thinks it fits his game. Win at a desert course at TPC Scottsdale, other wins at short golf courses. I think this is a good spot for him. And I'm willing to kind of buy the bounce back because he had kind of a quite dreadful spring and summer, which caused him to miss the President's Cup as it was played in his home country, which I'm sure was, kind of hurtful for him. But he bounced back well last week with a T25 at the Black Desert Championship, gained strokes in every category. I'm willing to continue to play Nick Taylor. He is going to be a guy that I am going to be certainly be getting into my DraftKings lineups here this week. All right, let's go ahead and take a quick breather. We're going to spotlight a few more guys and then get on out of here. Now, I did want to mention there are places where you can find more information from me. First off, I talk all about this custom model. I tinker with it all week long. And on Wednesday, I publish an article of my core plays for DraftKings and FanDuel, as well as the final top 10 from my model. So if you want access to that, head on over to the Patreon, patreon.com/MikesMoneyPicks. You'll also get access to all of the core DFS plays for college football, as well as NFL slates. So if you're interested in that, that's certainly a place to go. All right, so let's go ahead and talk about some other guys, right? So, looking down the board, I really like Harry Hall at $8,400 on DraftKings. I like him as a bet to win the event also. This is a guy who plays out of Vegas, has a great history at this event. And, he's a guy that, like we talked about with, I can't remember who it was, but when he gains strokes with the putter, he has the upside to win an event because he can go nuclear with the putter. He's a great around the green player. He's great at short golf courses. He's not very long off the tee, but that's not a disadvantage here. Harry Hall checks a lot of the boxes I'm looking for this week. And even though he didn't show up super well in my model, he's certainly a guy that I'm going to look to because he can get hot at any time. Matty Schmidt is coming in really hot off of a really scorching weekend at the Black Desert Championship. If you're any kind of believer in bringing in recent form, which is really hard to do in an event like this, given its timing on the calendar, Matty Schmidt would be a guy to look at 7,800. I really like Austin Eckroat's profile for this event. You look at the type of courses he plays well at, it tends to be really, really straightforward courses, like courses where there's clearly defined hazards, like, hey, don't hit the ball in the water, don't hit the ball in the desert, don't hit the ball in the trees, and, ways to navigate it. And, he tends to play well at that type of environment, and this is one of those types of environments. It's been a while since he's played, but he is at his best at short golf courses. He's a good wedge player. I think that this is a pretty good spot for Austin Eckroat at 7,600. I think Emiliano Grillo at $7,400 on DraftKings is a steal, honestly. He's a guy that I'm going to roll out also. Ben Silverman is, a Canadian who also plays well at the desert golf courses. It's kind of weird. But also, I really do think that he is a guy that can get scorching hot with the putter. He's at his best at short courses, $7,400, very reasonable price tag. I'm going to go back to Ben Silverman. And then another guy that I want to talk about was Ben Coles, $7,000 even on DraftKings. One of the best bent grass putters in the field, at his best at easy golf courses where accuracy off the tee does not matter. And I'm going to continue to roll him out for that. Joe Highsmith is also a guy that I want to mention at $6,900. So he is a lefty who hits it a mile off the tee. Can be inaccurate, and that doesn't matter here. And he's recently switched putting grips, and so that's worth noting because he's been a much better putter since he switched putting grips. And so that's, a change where when you look at long-term numbers, it's not going to look good for him with the putter. But when you look at short-term numbers, it's actually going to be much better. And so if he can kind of ride the momentum of that, putting grip switch, I think that $6,900 is a very reasonable price tag to pay for him. He's a guy that you can definitely get into your DFS lineups. After that, Carson Young, $6,700 is a guy that I feel like when you just have a short golf course that's easy, just play him. Like just no questions asked. He seems to always make the cut. If you're just looking for a 6 for 6 in your DFS lineup, I think he has a very high made cut equity. At these easy golf courses, just where he tends to play his best golf. All right. Anyway, that's going to do it for this episode, y'all. Hopefully, we gave you guys plenty of names, plenty of information that you can use to help build your DFS lineups, help build out your betting cards, and help you pick a one and done golfer this week. I know one and done's not a super big thing for the fall swing. If you're playing a fall swing, one and done, hopefully gave you plenty of guys that you can use here this week. I think Tom Kim is the obvious answer because he doesn't, likely play again for the rest of the fall. But, if you don't want to use Tom Kim, hopefully we gave you guys plenty of names that you can look out for. That's going to do it for this episode, y'all. If we gave you some information that was helpful to you, please hit the like button on YouTube. Please rate and review the audio. It really does help me out a ton. And please subscribe to the channel. That way you can be with us for the rest of the PGA Tour calendar, as well as all of our college football, NFL, and college basketball content. But anyway, that's gonna do it for this. That's gonna do it for this episode, you guys. Thank you guys for watching and listening to this point. Best of luck to you at the Shriners this week. We will be back next week for the. I'd have to check the schedule. I honestly don't know what event comes next. It used to be the Houston Open. I don't remember. Anyway, we'll be back next week. But thank you guys for watching and listening to this point. Best of luck to you this week at the Shriners, and I will see you guys next time.